Hey,
Eh,
all right, let's welcome Larry back as well as new person Ibrahim to the our writing group here on Tuesdays, our now Tuesday night writing group. And all right, so you have presented a comic script Supernatural. Tell us about it.
So basically, I kind of thought about a comic where
Yes,
basically there would be some kind of interesting trope to it. So I was thinking, like, the Scottish, they kind of have their own history and everything. And
yes,
like the Scottish lost the war, like, 1,000 years ago, whatever. So I was
yes.
thinking, what if there was some alternative fiction where maybe they summoned a demon to try to win the war, but started killing like Scottish and English soldiers. And then
Okay.
basically they had to seal it away. And then there's this guy in America, fast forward 1,000 years later, and he's kind of somehow loosely connected or descended from that bloodline. And
There
that
you go.
demon was said to, like, I don't know, haunt or come back or be resummoned to, like, try to like take over his body or something. So I was just thinking maybe that would be an interesting kind of trope to include in a comic, and just kind of have some things here and there that I've written down.
that
I
And
sounds
mean,
way
you
more fun
you,
than the
you
way you
certainly have some
described
cool ideas.
yeah, and then I kind of try to include the guy's experiences, like, through like high school, and I kind of have the main character being like a journalist or whatever, and I kind of start off the scene with his best friend and him talking about how just what's been going on since high school. That this guy was his high school best friend, and they hadn't met each other in a long time, so they're meeting in a bar.
Okay.
Um, Still need to like flesh out some details here and there, but I kind of have like an interesting backstory, I think, for the character that I have.
Let's see. All right. So typically we just read through the thing,
Okay.
and all right, your format's going to need a little work.
All right. I'll do
Um,
that.
let's see. All right. So we have I guess we're going to need our traditional uh, narrator type person.
All right, I'll do that. I
All
didn't do.
right.
I knew that last week, and I was so relieved.
Actually, Danny, do you want me to do that because I dropped pages?
Sorry.
He will be presenting also.
Yeah.
Well, if you want me to read that, then sure.
Okay. I'll narrate.
Okay. AKA dropped pages. There you go.
I did.
You
Dropped them in
did.
the Discord.
Dropped pages. That's right.
Well, on with it then.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Setup. Two guys are in a bar around 11 p.m. The protagonist is Jacob, and the man sitting across from him is his high school friend Brian. They're meeting after a time span of 12 years. Jacob has been a freelance writer for a time, but his stories didn't gain the momentum they needed. He ended up going from state to state only to find himself back in the city of Detroit. You know what, Preston?
What?
I didn't.
What?
There's very little, given that there's no action actually going on, the
Yes.
limited use of passive in that is actually pretty neat. You should like that.
All right.
Yeah, I was trying to set up the scene, give an idea to the reader.
No, I'm making a fact that you did a very good job with your passive, your use of passive voice.
That's the best use of passive voice we have ever
There
seen.
is no passive.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
There you
basically, yes. Jacob, who's Jacob?
Jacob is a guy who's like somehow.
No, I mean, who's reading for Jacob? I'm sorry.
go. I'll be Jacob.
All right.
Damn, man, it's been some time. Life has mostly been a mess for me. A string of pointless relationships and rushing from one job to the next. So little time, but so many memories.
Brian sips another glass of whiskey.
It seems like after high school, things have been rough for you. Remember Rachel Gonsalves, that girl with the jet black hair and blue eyes? I had the biggest crush on her for a time, but you ended up dating her towards the end of senior year. How'd that turn out?
See.
It's just like a lot
Wow,
of story about the character. I didn't know how much to
a
include.
lot of stuff here.
Yeah.
I am so happy I brought it.
Yeah, that's a nice wall of text. How long does it go on for?
I was thinking of like if I
That
translate
goes
this
on
into
that
comic form, make it
Oh, okay.
a
So
flashback
is it
type
only-
of thing.
You
Preston,
could do
how many
that.
pages did he drop?
3.
It's about
Okay.
yeah, it's about 3. I still have some stuff to work. I have like a whole ideas board, but I just need to know how to go forward with it. So.
All right. Yeah, about that. You see, at first things were amazing. We'd always spend time by Orchard Lake and throw stones at the shores of the lake to vent out our frustration at the world, plotting out how our future would be. It seemed perfect until it happened. One day, after I got out of class, I messaged her to confirm our plans for Friday night. I had booked up a spot at a comedy club downtown, and we were looking forward to hearing an up-and-coming comedian whom we both found funny. Suddenly, as I passed by the side of the gym on my way to get a bicycle, I hear loud sounds coming from inside. My heart pounds out of my chest, and that's when I died inside. I saw Rachel at the corner of the bleachers making out with Michael Valentino, the star high school football player who landed a scholarship in Yale. I deleted her from my contacts and any social media. Whenever we crossed paths at school, she'd always brought up how much she still loved me and that she just needed space. I was furious about the whole thing. I wasn't fully over Rachel, but that didn't matter. I had something in store for Mike. Towards the end of the year, I ended up following Mike from a distance. Through the corner of my camera, I got his locker combination. I snagged several books and poems from the kids that got into the most fights and won. I left a note and mastered Mike's handwriting after spending some time with him in a philosophy course we both needed for an extracurricular. He always had the most blank responses in class and got an old copy of assignments from him. I snapped photos of his homework in the bin. We placed them in after class, and after several times, I mastered his handwriting to a T. This is a very elaborate revenge plot, I must say.
Yeah.
I wanted to like give him an interesting backstory, you know. So I was like,
Here we go. All right, very good.
you know.
Less defensiveness. We just got to read it all first, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes we say things in the middle of reading it, mostly because we're liable to forget doing so later.
Right.
I now had my sweet revenge by June. At the last week of senior year, all the kids who got notes from Mike saying how he had all their phones and books and to meet them after class or he'd knock some sense into them. That day, after the last period, not even I could see what was coming. One kid confronted Mike from behind and glared him down, saying he wanted his phone back, and then another, and 4 more. Before Mike could move, one kid punched him straight in the jaw, nearly breaking his perfect face. Another kid kicked him in the knees, tearing his ACL. And finally, right before the assistant principal rushed in to break up the fight, another kid gave him 2 black eyes. The damage was done, and although he recovered, I know he'd learned to never pull anything like that again. Everything has a consequence. Flashback is visualized in the comic to show dramatic details.
Damn. I don't know what to say. That sounds fucked up. But at the same time, so well put together. Did you know how far it was going to go? Did you worry those kids would kill him?
Nah, man, I didn't think it would be so sudden, but I was careful to plan around things. I knew our school had most of its fights at the end of the year and that the assistant principal would be stalking the campus looking for any commotion. Plus, Mike's locker was right next to the office of the assistant principal. I was vengeful, but not vicious or willing to kill anyone. I just needed to make sure I got payback. After that year, I made amends to focus on myself and my writings. I went to the University of Michigan to study journalism. After a while, I got the hang of it to the point where major news agencies were asking me to write for I'm even the Washington Post, man. That's cool beans. But being the stubborn hard ass I was, I wanted to carve out a name for myself and go freelancing, but I never got as much traction as I had hoped it would get. Speaking of which,
Jacob's smartwatch alarm rings, a notification reminding him to wake up at 8 a.m. to finish a draft of the story he had been writing.
I have to get going. Have to wake up early to finish the draft of an op-ed I've been putting off.
Jacob walks out of the bar. As he does so, right behind the name of the bar, Two Little Birds, is seen in view as he passes. In the same scene, he looks ahead to his 1972 black Mustang. Scene forwards. Jacob gets home. The next day, his watch makes a melodic ding ding hum dum dum hum drum, and after a toss and turn, he gets up and he makes himself a coffee. A woman shows up in a bathrobe. This is his sister Valerie.
Oh, see, I was really hoping we were gonna get like gratuitous nudity, but then you pulled the sister card.
This is not.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to wake up, like people wear bathrobes when they wake up, so I was just thinking something simple. But I have like a main kind of like female character I think that Jacob is introduced to that definitely might play that role. So
okay,
we'll have to see.
All right.
Well, I'm glad it's not the sister.
Yeah.
All right, who's wait, Larry, you can be Valerie.
Okay. Hey Jake, good luck on that story. I've seen you working all week to complete it. I'm sure it'll turn out good.
Jake shrugs his neck and takes a sigh.
You always were the gifted architect.
I sure hope so.
Oh, wait, sorry. I sure hope so. I had to tie in multiple serial killers from the Ramirez to Ted Bundy. There's no exact idea of how it all works. Just to make the best of the data is the whole point of a good op-ed. I think I've got that much now.
Speaking of work, I have a meeting today as well online. It's for the consulting firm I'm with. We have a very wealthy client who hopes to craft the next version of a futuristic cyber city.
You always were the gifted architect, scouring through every magazine and book on cities, their geometry and history. It was only a matter of time these skills would come to shine. I remember the day you brought that magazine with Grandma on the psychology of architecture and abstract ideas. You seem so happy. But then the day a bright sun turned into a dark cloud.
A flashback occurs, which shows Valerie and Jacob accompanying their grandma around a shopping mall in the middle of downtown Detroit. They are respectively 14 and 15 in age. As they stop by a stand with magazines, Valerie holds the architectural magazine with joy and boundless curiosity. The grandmother says, "Who wants to do grandma?"
Want that, dear? Here's $5. Give it to the man at the front.
Valerie skips gleefully as she gives the man the money in exchange for her new magazine. Then, as they all walk toward a street neighboring their house, gunshots were heard. They all panicked in fear and froze. The grandmother moves the kids to the side and goes on to catch a glimpse. Then suddenly a man with a mask pops out from the right side of the corner, leading into the street. He points the gun at the grandmother.
No, not Grandma.
Wrong neighborhood, old bitch. A burst of gunfire is heard as the bullets land in her chest.
This is a rough neighborhood.
Apparently, it's Detroit, man. The man then runs along to accompany his gang. There was a gang-related business selling coke, etc. As they think the coast is clear, one of the gang members catches the grandmother and shoots her. Jacob is forever scarred and traumatized and feels it in himself to be skeptical of others, almost as if a switch goes off in his mind at certain points as to not trust others. He may form relationships with people, but they are always methodical in nature, and Jacob is always looking for a reason to be skeptical of someone. Meanwhile, Valerie is expressionless and shocked. She doesn't possess the event in the same way Jacob does, but her eyes are wide open and frozen, still, almost as if she were an artifact in a museum. They both surround and hold their grandmother. A few moments later, Jacob checks her pulse by her neck, but doesn't notice any beating before the two can contact someone for help. Their grandmother has already lost too much blood, and the pure shock, horror of the situation, and the denial that it has already lost too much blood, and the pure shock and horror. Did I just double a line?
Yeah,
I think I did. too much wall of text.
Yeah.
Make it so that they are unable to contact someone in time. After that night, Jacob was scarred for years to come. He'd often go weeks on end after that night, isolating himself and not speaking a word, thinking, plotting, understanding that he could have done differently that night, and to never be on the short end of the stick, being powerless and hopeless, not knowing what to do or who to call for help. Valerie internalizes the event as well, but she is soon able to overcome her guilt and sense of shock and turn the event around the turn of
I
events.
got more.
Holy crap. Now I lost my place.
I'm sorry about that.
Thinking, plotting, understanding. Valerie internalizes the event, but she is soon able to overcome her guilt and sense of shock. Around the turn of events, she immerses herself into sports and grows to become the head of the girls' soccer team. She is able to channel her energy into things which give her a sense of purpose and connection to the world around her.
I was hoping she was gonna like go down a dark path and end up a stripper, but oh wow.
Well,
I tried to make it
considering Jacob turned into a sociopath, do we really need both of them to go to dark path?
Yeah, we want someone to hold him into being a good
They
person.
go through parallel, mutually illuminating dark paths.
They do.
That's a story.
There we go.
True. That is a story. Jacob eventually lets out of his shell into the early middle school. He connects with his English school teacher who gives him the guidance to put his emotions into words through the art of expressing himself in writing. He soon finds a renewed sense of purpose. By early high school, he leads the journalism club and writes editorials for the school's local newspaper. He feels as if his life, through still fractured, has a sense of direction and meaning. Through great pain comes understanding, writes Jacob. It was these words that would be etched in his mind through any difficult and grueling situation he'd be in, whether being the underdog in blank or getting into conflicts with classmates over how a project should go, or as he had better ideas than the rest of them. This mindset served Jacob in throughout the remainder of his life till the present. Anyone can turn their backs on you at any moment. Always expect the unexpected, while all the same there, with a fear of pain and which struck him through this rock-solid determination, a sense of injustice and unfairness. He wanted to rid himself, but couldn't because of the fact of the matter was the truth was often harsh and relentless, unlike the fairy tale lies he had wanted to believe. This almost sounds like the making of a supervillain.
A little bit. So
I mean, I want him to be kind of like an anti-hero. You know, I want him to be bad, but not too bad.
All right. So what is the understanding that he gained?
So I kind of just wanted to like
pain comes great understanding. It says Preston.
Yeah, no, but I'm trying to figure out what the understanding was.
Well, we save that for the.
I guess just the
pain
at
the end, Preston.
Okay, fine.
You're for that, Preston.
All right.
All right. Scene skips ahead. Jacob, you have lines now.
Yeah.
That's you, Preston.
Oh, okay.
I guess they're back in the apartment.
I should get back to work. We can discuss the past another time.
I think that was a
all right. Yeah.
There we go.
Jacob types on his computer. Images of gruesome murders and profiles of serial killers are shown in view.
I see where the commonalities lie. Lack of remorse or twisted sense of justification for their motives. There's so much variation, though, from those with antisocial personality to those that can blend into a crowd seamlessly and even come across as charismatic.
Like a sociopath. An hour later, Jacob, with a sly smile on his face, his eyes squinched together.
I think that just about completes the op-ed.
And the other part was just a note for me in general to kind of like when I'm writing, like how to piece together whether, you know, it'd have to go through an editor just for the scene to kind of continue or something. But
so do we stop here?
I'm happy to stop here.
I mean, yeah, the rest is kind of just like not.
All right, fair enough. Okay, so so we had Jacob. He's had a rough time of things. He was dating a girl, but she's a cheater. He had a grandma, but she died in a coke hit.
Something like that,
yeah.
Gangbang.
And he has a sister, but she's going through some hard times. This has turned Jacob to want to write a bit. He's become successful in his writing. The Washington Post has taken notice. He's getting asked to write other stuff. So he has a blossoming career as a writer. Not so much in terms of the love life. He'll probably get over that eventually. But he's, I don't know, maybe going down a dark road
Right.
that might involve killing people.
I actually wanted to include like
Okay,
something where Mike
Yeah.
and him kind of become friends later
All
on.
right.
Like they have a huge confrontation. Mike's like,
Okay.
"You screwed up my life. Like, who are you?"
All
And
right.
Jacob kind of has to like see what he's
All
done.
right. All
And
right.
they kind of form a duo
We're going to talk about it now, and we'll come back to you at the end.
All right, no problem.
All right. John.
So honestly, I kind of felt like this would make a rather interesting issue 0, kind of like, and a backstory of like a supervillain. Like
Yeah.
I really feel like Jacobs is like, this is like a supervillain before he's gone completely off to the dark side.
Okay.
So like in issue 1, you know, he's all supervillainy and all that kind of stuff. But you know, like after you do a couple episodes, then you're gonna, or a couple issues, then you're like, oh, let's do an issue 0 about before he goes to the dark side. And that's kind of the way I feel like this kind of feels like that.
I mean,
Nate.
I agree that this feels like.
But I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, it kind of depends on what you're going for. But that's kind of how it felt, and it was actually kind of cool. To me, it was kind of cool. If that's what it was, I think it's kind of cool.
I agree. This is an excellent introduction to a jealous copycat serial killer story, focusing on the villain protagonist. I think there's a lot of really good stuff in here about like characters and their backstories and where they're coming from. And you've clearly thought it through as to what your characters are doing.
Yeah.
And why they're doing it. So that's actually quite impressive.
All right, Larry.
Yeah, I would agree. There's some really good character development. And John's probably right. It would work good as like a backstory type of story. Maybe not the main one, I guess. Okay. But yeah. You could work it in through the main story, but I don't think it needs to be all dumped out in front. But
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that was why I was thinking in issue 0, because you wouldn't want to start your story here because you want to start more in the drama of what the actual storyline is going to be. But this would be a nice, you did a couple issues and you're kind of, maybe you're struggling with issue 4. So you're like, you know what, let's go back and do an issue 0 and I can just do this. And it's a good way to kind of give yourself some breathing room. Comic series do issue 0s all the time. That's kind of the way it felt as is. But of course, you can also write it to where we slowly learn his backstory over the course of whatever number of issues you have planned.
All right. Okay.
All right. In terms of how we might be able to make this better. So I know this is very early. And so, you know, we're kind of expected that we got some drafts. Now, my focus when I look at my stories, as well as when I look at other people's stories, is on the conflict. And I'm not sure what the conflict is here. You've given me Jacob, who's having a time. He seems to have a hard time connecting to other people, and he likes people who die or betray him. Okay, cool. But what is what is Jacob out to do or not do that is going to bring him in conflict with the world or someone else? I'm not sure. Maybe Jacob has this internal conflict. Maybe this is like Dexter and his Dark Passenger, and that's the conflict of our story. But whatever that conflict is, you're going to need to figure it out and start using it as the framing device around which your story unfolds.
Right. I had like an idea, like maybe he gets introduced to like another female kind of character, but and she's kind of like, he's like not really sure if he should trust her or maybe he should, and then he decides to trust her, but she ends up being like someone that's possessed or some type of witch or something.
Yes.
And she's working with some cult to like revive that demon.
I mean,
She knows that.
you got a lot of cool ideas.
Yeah.
I mean, if at some point you need to move from ideas to decisions,
Right.
and go, here's what it's about. It's about this guy over here and this girl, this demon worshiping girl. Okay. I mean, if that's what it's about, cool. But like you have kind of like a smorgasbord of ideas, and cool. I mean, and you're clearly good at the idea thing. You've got some, you're presenting things that are interesting. They have emotional leverage and weight. But I mean, it's like John or Danny or Larry or I can't just look at all these ideas and go, that's the winner right there. Just take this one and just run with it, and that's going to be great. It comes about to like what kind of
thing. You tell us this is a story about a demon. What you gave us is a really good origin story for a serial killer.
Right.
Yes, pretty much.
So I don't need to say that the dialogue is problematically on the nose. But it is.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I don't think this should be a comic if you want to. If this is just your notes, sure. If this is, close to what you consider presentable, this shouldn't be a comic. I think the way you're writing this actually comports itself better to a prose format.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to deal with people's internal life that much, write a novel.
Right. I was just thinking maybe like the visual element would kind of like be interesting, or I don't know, but I'd probably have to
sure. But you've given us a couple, the skeleton of a good first chapter to a novel of a burgeoning serial killer, or maybe you end with some reference of the demon or whatever.
Right.
And the format of something happens, he thinks about his past. Something happens, he goes on this long thing about terrible things done in his past. That's how a novel functions, right? You're stuck in one character's head, you're in their perspective, and you're privy to their thoughts in the modern novel, especially in like the airport fiction side of things. So that's a direction, and that's the kind of protagonist you have. That's the kind of interests that your protagonist has. And that's not an unreasonable direction where you could go with a lot less work than turning this into a comic.
Right.
Where you've got to really be careful about your dialogue length. And I mean, you didn't show us a lot of action or whatever, right? He goes to his car. He's at
right. I guess John was kind of right. It's more like an issue 0, because I just wanted to set up the backstory. I was really concerned about that.
And you absolutely wrote that for yourself meaningfully. This is why I wasn't sure if this was notes or presentation material. If it's notes, you're doing great. You're delving deep into the characters, and you're going to do some really good character-driven work later on.
Mm-hmm.
If this is the sort of way you want to present it, it's genuinely better as a novel.
No, these are just notes. I'm not including all those details.
The visual format and the way you have to marry text and imagery is going to actually advance your story or get in your own way.
Yeah.
And don't fight an uphill battle with these sorts of things. Maybe it was to be a novel or a short story, and you should 100% write that. If that's where it ends up going, that's my sort of note on that.
All right, appreciate you.
Anybody else got?
I'll just say, and you'll figure this out as you if you continue coming to the group, and if you follow along on some of our scripts, you'll realize that comics is a very visual medium. So at least for me, and I can't speak for everybody else here, but for me, I tend to visualize what the panel is going to look like, and that's kind of how I describe it. So, but again, I think in visual terms. I, like Preston, we came from screenwriting. I think Danny's probably done a little bit. He's done some film stuff too. And it's very visual. So we're kind of used to thinking in our head what it's supposed to look like and then putting that on page. So keep that in mind, like when you're working out your story and how the story is going to look. Picture it in your head like a movie or like a comic book, like you're reading it. What do you actually see? And then write that. And then I think that'll help you too as you get more into this and as you try to learn how to actually and script a comic.
Right. Okay.
While we're talking about visualization, let's visualize Spirit of the Dragon 2 over $12,000. Congratulations, John.
Way to go,
Thank you.
John.
Mm.
Any tips you want to give the listeners about how to become a big comic success?
Hire Keith Garvey.
Hire Keith Garvey. Yeah, this seems like you can't go wrong with that one.
Nope. And Whiskey Paint's cover is doing better than any cover he's ever done for me before, which is also helping.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is even better than the fire dance with the boobs.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And I was kind of considering that I had 2 versions of that one, but when I haven't added it up.
Yeah.
But when I finished Angel of Darkness 2, I hadn't sold more than 50 of either.
Okay.
So my 100 print run for those are now both 50 print runs.
Right.
And he didn't sell more than 50 in Spirit of the Dragon 1, and he didn't sell more of Angel of Darkness 1. I still have a 25 pack of his from Angel of Darkness 1 that I haven't even opened yet.
Right.
So, but this one, I have a feeling I'm going to end up selling 60 or 70 of them.
Congratulations.
So
Nice.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, why did she say bang bang? I mean, she's not like she uses guns.
It's still an awesome art.
Okay. All right.
It's finger guns.
Which is totally her.
I have a picture of Margaret Atwood doing that.
Anyway. All right. So yeah, congratulations. This is your already. It's your best performing campaign, and you still have 12 days to go.
And for Spirit of the Dragon 3, I think I'm going to hire Sushi to do Julia as a cat girl.
There you go. I'm glad that's working for you. Yeah, currently on pace. Oh my goodness, back up, everybody. On pace still, bringing $19,000.
Well, that's awesome.
That's that would be saying something.
That would be saying something for a 4th time.
Yeah. So there you go. Congratulations. And now tell us about Angel of Darkness 4.
So this is Angel of Darkness 4. And actually, Danny, I guess you got a reprieve because I know we were talking about this a few weeks ago, but I realized I have to bring it through the writers group. So you can give me all your critiques here.
Yay.
We'll
I'm as soon as I go because I am your narrator.
There you go.
Which is fine by me because you're going to have to letter the thing. So at the end of issue 3, so basically zombies on the train, our group of heroes got separated. Hansu, who is the major, and Colonel Amos's right hand, basically fled to the front end of the train. He grabbed some explosives. He rigged up the baggage coach.
Oh yeah.
To explode.
Oh.
And the last scene we saw from issue 3 is that he dropped the dynamite plunger, and then we've turned the page because
what a dumbass.
And this is starting on page 2 because you're doing weird shenanigans for your trade paperback. Is that correct?
Yes, I am doing weird shenanigans for my trade paperback. My trade will be released all in one fell swoop, like it's a graphic novel. So quite literally, the last page, which I think is 23 of issue 3, is basically going to be page 1 of issue 4.
Yeah,
wow.
that sounds about right.
Okay.
All
right.
Let's go. You can assign the roles as we go, John.
I will, because there's a lot of them. We'll do that as we go.
Page 2 to 3. Exterior, baggage coach, day. The baggage coach explodes. Big explosion, giant fireball, wood debris flies everywhere. Kaboom! Caption, Cape to Cairo Railways, Central Africa, 1939. Page 4, panel 1, exterior baggage coach. Morning. The rear train wheel axle launches upwards out of the debris from the explosion. Kaboom! Whoosh! Panel 2. Exterior, train coupler 7-8, night. Nikki leaps over the shifting platforms. Panel 3. Exterior, passenger coach number 4. The train wheel axles crash down on an angle at the front of the coach, hitting the metal frame at the bottom of the coach, bouncing back into the air in a V-shaped movement, completely destroying passenger coach number 4.
Oh no!
Clang! You said crash in big letters, but crash is not what your SFX. Fix that. Use motion lines and fading to blah, 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 blah. In the background, passenger coach 3 remains intact. Train engine, now detached from the rest of the train, moves into the distance.
Hell yeah, it does.
Page 5. Panel 1, interior, passenger coach number 7. Probably still day. Is it still day?
It's all at the same time.
Nikki grabs Aaron's arm, yelling, but her words could not be heard of the noise and commission.
Yes.
Train passengers crowd around Nikki and Aaron, shoving and pushing. Crash, boom. Aww.
Nikki has something to say. Larry, why don't you read that?
Okay.
It's Morse code. Just go beep, 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 beep.
Beep, 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 beep. Okay.
Panel 2. Exterior, passenger coach number 5. Continuing its V-shaped trajectory from page 4, panel 3, the train wheel axle tears the roof off of passenger coach number 5,
no.
leaving the bottom portion otherwise undamaged. Wood debris from the roof flies everywhere. Use blah, 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 blah. A horde of zombies stand passive, unfazed in passenger coach number 5.
Well, thank God they're okay.
Ta-ta, ta-ta. Whatever that's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Panel 3, exterior, passenger coach number 6. The train wheel axles continue its trajectory from panel 2, crashing through passenger coach number 6 along the bottom portion, completely tearing through the coach. Blah, 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 blah. Wood splinters flying. Inside passengers are ripped apart, splattering blood all in directions.
I gotta say, John, I don't remember this from the last draft of your story where like the train just like explodes. Did I miss that part? Or
Well, I
mean,
think
if
the
train just explodes
the
for
last
22
time we
pages,
did
would
it,
be
I
very
think it was
happy.
still in screenplay format.
yeah.
So I wasn't as detailed because that's the visual effects team's job.
Right.
Now I'm actually describing what it's supposed to look like for my artist to
go.
draw. So
Okay.
yes,
Well,
I
fingers
believe
crossed
that's the
this helps.
difference. I believe this is the first time that we're presenting it in comic format.
Okay, but the train was always blowing up.
Yeah, that was always the plan. Train blows up.
Okay.
More
Yep.
ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. Panel 4, exterior, passenger roach number 7.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
See, when you
One
add
end of
this
the
one,
wheel
you're gonna
axle
remove
is
it.
hitting the
See,
dirt beside the train, tilting the other wheel axle to the air at a 45-degree angle. But what happened to the roach?
Thump. That's what happened to the roach. A thump.
Thumb. The airborne wheel of the axle swings around towards passenger coach number 7, cashing through the corner,
Like it
ripping
does.
a massive hole in it.
That
Use ghosting and blah, blah, blah,
is
blah,
a
blah.
massive hole.
Smash. You can see inside passenger coach number 7 as the wheel hits a passenger, cutting him in half with blood splatter as body is severed. Splat.
Oh no.
That is a lot
Oh.
of verbs.
Wow.
Page 6 to 7. Let's fucking go.
So for the first 5 pages, we have exploding train.
I am totally cool with that.
All right.
yes,
Yeah.
we've
that's a lot
spent
of-
the last 3 issues on this train. I'm blowing it up in style.
Okay.
Panel 1, interior passenger coach number 7. Large splinters of wood fly like javelins from the right edge of the page across this massive 2-page spread.
more train explosions.
I'm pretty sure we want them actually going left to right because that's the way people read in Latin alphabets.
Sure.
Left side, page 6. Nikki,
I'll have to think about that.
her skin now pitch black. Her hair burns magical white. Presses the front of her body into Aaron's back. Her arms wrapped around Aaron, keeping her pinned. Okay, now it's a John Lamont script.
There we go. I was about to say this is not the time for this,
Flying
Nikki.
javelins of wood. One piece hits her square in the back and shatters like glass. 2 or 3 passengers should be visible on this page being impaled by the wood spikes, either on the ground, pinned to the wall, etc. Blood splattering across the walls and floor. Page 7, a large wood spike pierces Amos's chest, pinning him to the wall. Blood splatters across the back wall and window. 2 or 3 passengers should also be visible on this page being impaled, blah, 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 blah.
A lot of people dying, shit blowing up.
Page 8. Panel 1,
So
exterior.
far we have 8 pages of death.
Yeah, that's good.
Night. No, still day. Damn it.
It's still day.
Foreground, the train wheel axles take focus laying in the dirt. Background, the train continues moving along. The observation coach and passenger coach 8 completely undamaged. Panel 2, interior passenger coach number 7. The front and side wall are ripped off. The roof hangs ready to collapse. Nikki and Aaron sit up on the ground. On the ground.
On the ground.
It should be on the floor.
It should be on the floor. Surrounded by bodies, all impaled by wooden spikes, spattered with blood. Nikki's skin and hair are back to normal. Passenger coach number 6 is visible in the background, completely leveled, leaving piles of wood debris and dead bodies on the metal frame of the coach floor. Panel 7, the shadow hovers over what? Hey, remember the shadow? And when he was in like the first issue of this, that was fun.
Oh yeah, that was
That's
cool.
right. Yeah,
Hovers over one of the passengers, pulling him to his feet.
we gotta move.
Why is her line from panel 2? Don't
Because
do
she's
that.
not in panel 3.
I see.
Come with me.
I could merge those 2 panels. I could put her on the
You
ground
could just
looking up.
put the line in panel 2 where she is. That's where I'm going to put it.
Oh, okay. Okay. I can see that.
So unless there's a really good reason not to, that's where I'm going to put it. We'll see with the art, but I suspect that's where I'm going to put it. Panel 4, interior passenger coach number 8. Nikki and Aaron slam the door shut, latching it. In the background, through the glass windows, we see the shadow.
The shadow.
who is now in sentence case for some reason, turning the dead passengers in passenger coach number 7 into zombie. In the foreground, train passengers stand out anxiously facing Aaron and Nikki. Their backs to us. Sorry, they're back to us. They are back to us.
We need a farmer.
Abraham should be a farmer.
Lieutenant, what's going on?
Abraham should be something. Come on, he's new.
We need an Aaron. Abraham.
Abraham.
Not bad, guys. You guys are calling me. I just kind of walked away for a little bit.
Yes, we want you
yeah.
to read Aaron's line here.
All right, Aaron. We lost the train. We need to barricade this door and buy us time.
Very good.
Time for what?
We have supplies and ammunition in the officers' lounge. We'll secure ourselves there. Maybe we can wait them out.
Panel 5. The passengers hammer wood slats against the door, leading to train coupler 7-8. Aaron heads towards the back of the train, away from the passengers.
Aaron, as soon as this coach is secure, bring the wood and the tools back, coach.
Page 9. Panel 1. Interior passenger coach number 7. The shadow, still in sentence case for some reason, forces itself into Amos's nose and mouth. Panel 2. Zombie Amos pulls itself off the spike, pinning it to the wall. A massive gaping hole in his chest. Organs and bone visible. Blood dripping out. Panel 3. Exterior train coupler 2-3. Nothing remains of the baggage coach but a burned out metal platform, frame, and ash. Zombie Amos stands on the train coupler of the passenger coach number 3 side, staring over the burned out baggage coach at the train engine, now far off into the distance. In the background, nearly out of sight, visible only as a silhouette and a smokestack, is the train engine. Page 10. Interior observation coach. Aaron stands by the padded bench, lid open, slams a magazine into the Lee Enfield rifle.
Like you do.
Like you do. Nikki walks to the rear platform.
Aaron, Nikki, stay inside. The train's slowing down. It'll just be a matter of time before.
Panel 2.
You're doing very well. But just one thing, don't read the name.
All right. No problem.
Exterior rear platform. Nikki stands on the rear platform, door closed behind her. Wind low as the train begins to slow. Okay. Above, zombie Amos leaps off the roof of the observation. Well, I mean, you could just like leap in a random direction. You could just be like hopping up and down like he's Super Mario. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Panel 3. Zombie Amos grabs Nikki by the throat, pitting her against the back wall of the observation coach with one hand. His other fist clenched at his side. He stares her in the eyes.
I'm giving you a good staring.
Yes. Nikki grabs his arm to avoid being chalked.
I hate that.
Her feet dangle several centimeters off the ground.
Oh man.
She snarls back at zombie Amos.
Grrr.
His.
There we go.
Panel 4, zombie Amos throws Nikki onto the ground of the rear platform.
I threw her on the ground.
Now, do you mean the ground or the floor?
The floor.
I threw her on the floor.
Panel 5, Nikki lays on the ground of the rear platform, by which, of course, he means floor.
Feeling
Nikki lays on the floor of the rear platform, feeling defeated. Her satchel lays on the ground. Is it on the ground or is it the floor?
It's on the floor.
Okay. The flap having fallen open, the skull stares at her from inside the satchel. Zombie Amos steps over Nikki, entering the observation coach. The end.
Yay.
Oh,
No, not the end.
What? Why?
Damn.
We started on page 2, remember?
We
Fuck.
did.
Oh,
Fine.
See, that was just like the end of a horror
This is
movie.
like the
All of a sudden,
fastest script we've ever read. I'm very happy with this.
All right.
Panel 1, interior observation coach. Aaron fires her pistol on zombie Amos as it approaches. Blam, blam. Zombie Amos holds up his arm to block the bullets from striking him in the head. That seems out of character for a zombie. Panel
That's
2,
always
zombie
smart.
Amos swings at Aaron, his finger bones protruding through flesh, sharped is not a word, like claws slash her across the neck, causing a geyser of blood to eject from the wound.
Oh.
Panel 3, exterior, rear platform. H here rolls down Nikki's face.
Boba, please.
Panel 4, the skull starts to glow red. Panel 5, interior observation coach. A massive blast of power shatters the rear door and the window, sending debris across the observation coach. The curtains dance. That's a good line. Nikki, skin jet black, hair burning like white fire. The skull in her left hand glows with a red aura.
Like it does. Okay. So, all right, Ibrahim, I'm going to give you our format here. We're gonna go around in our little circle here, and we're going to ask people what they liked about it. So I'm going to start with you. What did you like about that?
I like the action scene. I know John.
Which one?
Like just the sound
I
effects.
just messed with it.
You know, like the what is it called, the wagon crashing, the zombie doing its thing.
Yeah.
I guess the main thing I'm wondering about is like, would a zombie hand be enough to like block a bullet?
All right, we're going to save that comment until after we've heard all the good things. So do you have any other good things?
But yeah, I like the action sequences. I really liked how, you know, it felt very intense. Like there's pressure on the line.
Yeah.
And it kind of felt like things came to life with that kind of like, you know,
there we go.
that element.
All right, Danny.
Most of the words were spelled correctly.
There you go.
Hey, all the words were spelled correctly. I just didn't use the right word all the time.
Don't make me shove you in a hole.
It was a very nice
H-O-L-E.
That's why I only got a C in English grammar.
That's an easy one, I guess. Especially if you're writing quickly. Yeah.
It was a very good action intro, and I look forward to seeing how it gets drawn.
Larry.
Yes.
Give us your thoughts on Trainwreck.
I did Trainwreck, yeah. I did appreciate the fact that this one was a good, solid piece of action for the first few pages because, I mean, I missed 3. I don't think I heard much from that one when we were reading it, so...
It was like 6 months ago.
Yeah, but the first 2 were really dialogue heavy, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just, it's nice to see a lot of action sequences to kind of balance it out through issues. So I like doing that too. Have some wordy issues and then a lot of action issues and then wordy issues type of thing. So It's fun.
All right. So yes, you gave us trains wrecking, splinters exploding, people being pinned, zombies being animated. We had a stare off between a zombie and Nikki, followed by a throwing, and then Nikki a couple of times changing into some type of super version of herself. So lots of action, lots of mayhem. Stuff was blowing up. It should be entertaining.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. Now let's give John some suggestions about maybe how he could improve this work. So now, Ibrahim, what were you going to say?
I was gonna say that I mean, this is just more of a conceptual thing. I'm not sure how John has it in his world. Like, do the zombies have like some type of mutation that makes them strong enough to, you know, like if bullets would fire through them, would they fire through them, or would they like get stuck in them? Or I guess that was kind of the question I mainly had.
So I know that you're unfamiliar with the story, but the
Right.
earlier panel where the shadow goes into Amos when he's pinned to the wall, these aren't your Resident Evil zombies. Well, most of them are, but the shadow is a magical entity that can possess one of them, and when it does, it can basically control it and make it do whatever it wants.
Game over.
So the shadow is basically possessing zombie Amos. That's why he's smart. That's why he does the things that he does, and so.
Okay, that clears it up.
Yep.
Danny.
Reading this was very much like watching a train wreck happen in slow motion.
There you go.
Sorry. Sorry.
Well,
yeah, no, it was good. I know you didn't do this before in the art, but it would be really nice if there was some sort of effect to show that whomever the shadow is possessing like looks more superpowered or whatever in some way. That I think that would be a nice visual cue for that, because largely your zombies are just walking human bodies. So emphasizing the shadowness of the shadow is something that I think the story could do better, and I've seen other art from it, so I'm sticking with that.
okay.
I would be careful on some of your art direction. For example, the Nikki's face thing at the end is like, and like I know you've got
The Nikki what thing?
issues. Like the small panel of Nikki's face crying.
Oh.
Like I know what you're going for, which is a small panel, like extreme close up or forced perspective showing this, but it might not actually scan in the art the way you want it to.
You mean my artist isn't good enough to probably pull it off?
I don't think your artist is good enough to figure out exactly what you're going for based on like the camera angle and stuff that I think you're going for.
Okay.
So some extra notes on that may be very helpful. And yeah, like you've got a couple of pages with like five panels and a lot of action, or like one character doing two actions. They close the door and latch it, blah, 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 blah. That is, and one panel that was just like super weird with like 3 SFX and a whole bunch of other stuff going on. So be really careful about one object doing too many verbs in one panel, because that's a good way to have complicated or illegible art. There was one other thing, which, yes, okay. I am not super familiar with the makeup of the train, but wouldn't the observation platform, which I have seen the art from your book and is clearly at the back end of the train, like, is that after the explosion? It's not going anywhere, right? Like, it's not attached to the train. So yes,
there's nine cars. Engine being number 1, observation coach is number 9. The rear platform is just that little landing when you walk out the back door.
So given that a whole bunch of the train just exploded, it seemed from the way you gave the art direction that the back bit of the train was still moving, which it may well do in a train crash, but I mean,
So the
I'm
train
not sure
didn't actually crash. It more or less the baggage coach,
there's
which
axle's gone. It's in the process of crashing.
it exploded, and the train just kind of kept rolling.
Well, but parts of the train launched off the track and fell on other parts of the train.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is like literally.
I would call that a crash.
It's not like
Okay, I had not visualized the train derailing, so it just kind of moves to it just slows to a stop as the engine is no longer attached and pulling it.
All right.
Huh.
Okay. Well, if that's what's going on, then your action actually does work as written. So, kudos to you. And yeah, that was a little bit unclear because there was still some movement.
Yes. It doesn't.
The problem is that in a still art, some movement is going to look like any movement and is largely going to look very similar to fast movement.
Do you remember the last page from issue 2?
Yes. When you have like the extra speed lines.
Yes, like that was the speed of the train when throughout the entirety of issue 3. So it was like going really, really super fast. So basically anything that's not that, and nothing stopped the train because they didn't stop it. It just exploded and the engine left. So now it was just returning to normal speed and then eventually going to stop.
Nice.
I was going to suggest just adding something of the front of the train just slowing down with the sound effect. Or someone saying, the train's slowing down. Or like, what's happening? Oh God, there's zombies everywhere. Let's do something. Like,
Okay.
I mean, Nikki's being super badass, but like, I feel like saying it also helps the reader understand what's happening because you're stuck with still images.
You got it. I can add it to the conversation that Aaron has with the farmer because that's the whole reason why they're moving. That's the whole purpose of her direction to them is that once the train stops, the zombies can all get off the train, and they're concerned the zombies will surround them and basically kill them all. So they want to barricade themselves into the observation coach. That's the whole reason why she says we've got guns and food and water in the observation coach.
So there we go. Yeah, let's just add it there where we've got room for it, and I think that's going to help.
Yeah, I'll make that more clear in that conversation that they have that what's going on.
And that's pretty much it.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, you wrote a very nice train crash.
Yeah, I mean, a train crashed and zombies happened. I mean, cool.
Yeah.
I know you're not impressed, Preston. It's okay.
I mean, it's got action.
It's fine. It's fine. Not everybody has to like it. It's okay. My fans clearly do, and that's all.
I don't know why you got to get all defensive. I'm just like imagine it's like a Michael Bay explosion in fight. How am I supposed to critique that? Like it's a very explosion-y fighty thing.
Okay, to John's credit, it read right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could try and have that in comics and also have it come out completely wrong.
You did a great
job. Very easily. And I'm sure there's lots of ways it'll come out completely wrong.
I said it was good.
Yeah.
There we go.
Are you trying to say that it needs a Michael Bay track? Is that what you're trying to say?
Look, there's nothing wrong with that.
Like the theme song from Cops in the background. That would be cool. Bad boys.
There
what
we
you
go.
gonna do when they come? Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
My one thing is, why does a zombie throw her on the ground? He's got her pinned. They're snarling at each other. Like he's hissing at her, she's hissing at him. I feel like they should actually start a little zombie romance. But why does he like throw her on the ground?
It is a John Lamont script.
It is. He should like bite her in the neck or something,
That gets explained. It's part of the mystery.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Well, there you go.
There you go. That's an excuse out of line. Why didn't the zombie eat me?
Yeah.
Eh.
I think that was a Chuck Tingle headline I saw recently.
Well, why didn't the zombie eat me?
Yeah. All right.
I don't
Is
know.
it time to move on?
Yeah, sure, why not?
I guess. Yes.
Okay, here we go.
What are we reading next?
We're Palace.
Ooh,
issue
Golden Princess.
3
Let's go.
again. All right, Larry, why don't you narrate for us? And John, you can be the Avatar / Thora, and Ibrahim, you can be Queen Orica,
Okay.
and Danny can be Samantha, and I'll be Gretchen.
You want me to do Avatar and Thora?
Yes.
Yes.
Is this a rewrite from last week?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
All right. Panel 1, page 1, or page 1, panel 1, depending on how you're reading it. Queen Erica and Edmund cower in demon form Thora's mighty hands as she leers down at them.
What magic is this?
Thora recognizes the futility of serving one such as you.
Panel 2, Samantha and Gretchen work together in Crisis.
Thora now serves as a living avatar of Ereshkigal, Mistress of Oblivion. But how? No one has worshipped her since the slaughter of the Abrasions.
The summoner must have done it. We were fighting for our lives, and he dragged her into his teepee. We must fight to save her.
Panel 3, swords raised, clad in governess armor, with the red amulets around their necks glowing, two women burst through the door and enter the scene. Each appears roughly 260 centimeters tall. Governess Akasha, sorry. A thick woman with brown hair and fair complexion. Governess Tabitha, a fiery redhead with long legs and freckles.
Behold the queen in danger.
Governess Ho!
There we go.
Preston's
'Cause
going
she's a
for the
hoe.
rags audience here. So
I am?
Yes.
Just because she had red hair?
Yes. And freckles.
I mean,
Yeah.
most people with red hair have some level of freckles.
Well, I know. I'm just
And
teasing
most
you.
people that
Yeah.
crush on people with red hair also crush on their freckles.
There you
Yes.
go.
And they read rags. Anyway, no.
Okay.
Page 2, panel 3.
I'll tell you.
Sure.
Look, don't let this get out.
Yeah.
I have read through the first issue of Rags like 3 different times. I have like more issues. I've just never made the leap to go to the second one.
I heard the first issue was rough, but it gets better. So
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, give him some slack. Yeah.
Alright.
Indie books, man. That's what.
Yeah.
Yeah. Page 2, panel
They
1.
all can't be John Lamont scripts.
They're not
Yeah, exactly. As Tabitha and how did you say that? Akasha race towards her, the Avatar smashes the back of Edmund against the edge of the banquet table, causing his hat to fly from his head. She continues to hold the shaken Erica in her other hand. Smash. Panel 2, the Avatar throws Edmund's limp body onto the ground, not the floor, before Tabitha and Akasha, which gives them a moment of pause. It lands at a bizarre angle, owing to Edmund's paralyzed state. There we go.
Sir Edmund?
Panel 3, the Avatar holds a clearly frightened Erica in both hands, face to face, as she issues her threat.
I look forward to watching your journey through the abaddon of hell. Do you think the infernal whore you worship will provide you a place of privilege or allow you to suffer the torments of the damned?
Wait, surely we can reach a deal.
You possess nothing that I want.
Page 3, panel 1. Erica's face pleads for her life in the Avatar's clutches. Tabitha and Akasha stand at the opposite sides in an attempt to flank the Avatar and look for an opening to drive their swords home. Gretchen steps forward as the voice of reason.
You possess the life of Thora, a woman I care a great deal about. If you kill the queen, Tabitha and Akasha will surely end her life after you depart this plane of existence.
Surely there's something we can offer you.
You've already demonstrated that your word means nothing.
Ibrahim, this line right here.
Oh, my bad. That was before you entered the picture.
Panel 2, the Avatar ponders as she continues to clutch a calmer Erica.
The Abrakan Empire conducted itself far better than you. Their soldiers struck fear into their neighbors, all of whom were made to pay tribute. The coffers of my temples grew fat from their conquests. Still, their light was extinguished, their people butchered, my temples abandoned.
There's much we could learn from you, Samantha. Could we dedicate a temple to her?
Panel 3, Samantha agrees.
If not handled properly, it would tempt the jealous wrath of our current matron, Viviax. But it would benefit our people to learn from those the elder gods.
Yeah.
I think allowing a figure blessed by our Eshegal to speak to our congregations a good start.
Panel 4, her hands pinned by her sides, the Avatar by her sides by the Avatar's clutches. Erica attempts to open posture with her shoulders as she makes her proposal.
Great idea. Samantha, we are pleased to invite an emissary of Ershkigal to speak to our people. Wouldn't it feel good to be worshipped again?
Bah! The fawning of a decadent people means nothing.
Page 4, panel 1. Gretchen speaks.
We're not all decadent. I know the loss you must feel having watched your people die, but you don't possess Thora, a powerful woman who can serve you well, just as I serve her. If you can accept our service, then perhaps we can learn your ways and lead these people towards a better way through our example. And if that means nothing to you, that's no wonder your people fell.
Ooh, that's cold.
Iceberg.
There we go.
Okay. Panel 2, Erica smiles as the Avatar relents.
Fiery! I must admit it would feel nice to feel the admiration of spirited women again. But you must prove your worthiness.
We await your quest.
Very well then, I leave you to it.
Panel 3, motion lines show Thora's return to her pre-demonic state. Her corset, stretched from her transformation, hangs loosely on her body, along with the tatters of her yellow shirt. Falling over a meter off the ground, Queen Erica stumbles and loses her balance as she hits the ground. Her red powdered wig loses its anchor, or red powdered wig. Sorry. Loses its anchor to her head. I thought I said it wrong, so it's not your fault.
Head shaved?
No.
Yeah.
Why not?
Because it would take a while for her hair to grow out.
I mean, they could just all be wigs, dude. That's a nobility thing.
Akasha watches Thora seeking.
All right, John. Yes, the wig. We have nailed on the wig.
Yeah, when I was in LA, I knew a professional model, and she always shaved her head because every time she'd go to a different photo shoot, they'd want her to do her hair in a different way. And after so many different dyes and chemicals and stuff, she found it just better that she wore like really, really expensive wigs. You'd never know the difference. All professional level quality, and she would just change them. So, but yeah, she had her casual wig when she was out hanging out with us, and then she had all of her professional ones. But so it's not. I mean, it's not unlikely.
Okay.
Erica is bald
from
John, her
go
magic
ahead.
hair dye.
No, I'm done. Sorry.
All right. Kasha watches Thora seeking to pounce as Tabitha looks after the queen. Both now tower over all others in the room. Gretchen shows timid relief at the situation's resolution. Nestor and Cookie the Jester move to stand by her. Edmund lay on the lay dying on the ground in a pool of blood.
Oh, we're killing off Edmund?
Maybe.
Not really.
I mean, there is magic in this world.
There's magic in this, exactly. Yeah.
My queen, are you hurt?
We need an Akasha.
Yield, or I shall kill you where you stand, misogynist.
Page 5, panel 1.
I still wanted this one. So
yes, Thor's face shows defiance as the shredded garments hanging off her body do little to shield her. Akasha aggressively holds her arms behind her back. Erica sans wig locks her eyes with Thora. At a safe distance, Gretchen looks on in dismay. Nestor and Cucky follow the action with growing interest. All right.
What shall we...
Sorry, go ahead.
Wasn't I Akasha?
You are.
I don't remember. What shall we do with this traitor, your highness?
Sure.
It would seem your matron departed without issuing the quest.
I know what I must do.
And what is that?
You can start by releasing me.
Very well. Let her go, Akasha.
Okay, page 6, panel 1. Thor attempts to shield her nakedness with her hands as Gretchen moves to aid her. Suspicious, Akasha stands back, sword sheathed. Erica questions how far she will allow Thor to go.
Thank you. Ereshkigal wishes me to lead an expedition into the bygone lands of Lost Abraca to recover a collection of ancient texts. We are to return here and share them with the people of Alluvia.
Okay, panel 2. Samantha likes what she hears.
Abration text could add greatly to our lore knowledge. We would be wise to allow Thora this errand.
Panel 3. Erica delights in the sudden change of fortune as Edmund lies in a pool of blood, breathing his last breath. Sorry.
Very good. A quest for knowledge. Who should accompany you, Sir Edmund? Oh my, it seems my lover is injured. Samantha, can you see to him?
Panel 4. Setting aside her personal dislike of Sir Edmund, Samantha kneels to cast a healing spell. Red magic energy flows from her hands into Sir Edmund's prone body, restoring him to health.
Vulnera tua sanabuntur.
Are
you just making me read Samantha because I know how to read Latin?
There you go.
Man, weirdest life skill.
Page 7, panel 1. Samantha stands over Edmund, now seated on the floor. Erica.
Yeah.
Something.
She was going to do something. I forgot. Whatever.
Maybe she fell in my hole.
Yeah,
gets,
could be.
A little hot and bothered. There you go.
Yeah.
There.
Thank you, sir.
I'm not sure how much of this exchange you heard, but Governess Thora will be leading an expedition into desert in search of forgotten lore. She will no doubt need a few strong arms to aid her. Do you feel up to the task?
Panel 2. Still shaken, Edmund stands at Erica's side.
I don't feel comfortable with Thor's leadership. Her mind plays host to all manner of psychic intruders. Besides, the queen needs someone to keep her safe.
He's not a bad enough dude to save his father.
What?
Yeah.
What did you say? Danny? I missed what you said.
Oh, no, sorry. I was just joking about Edmund.
Yeah.
Okay. Understandable. Edmund. Still, Thora is currently playing host to a goddess of the ancient world that we reached a bargain with. It wouldn't do if we just send her out into the desert with her only squire.
Panel 3. Nestor stands by Gretchen and Thora, who seem to be a bit surprised at this offer. Just a little bit surprised.
Who wants to be Abraham? Be Nestor. There we go.
Right. I agree to undertake this quest if Thora will have me.
Of course, Sir Nestor.
Panel 4. Erica, Samantha, and Edmund stand together, seemingly pleased at this turn of events.
Then shall it be. Let us return to our meal, for we have even more to celebrate now. Not only has our protective magic been restored, we also these brave knights undertaken a quest to increase our lore.
Page 8, panel 1. Queen Erica takes her seat at the head of the table. Samantha sits confidently to her left. Edmund and Nestor and Thora and Gretchen stand as they await their seating instructions. Cucky looks for his juggling balls that he lost during the chaos. I'm glad you kept that in there, actually.
Thora, take your seat at my right hand as my guest of honor for our dinner. Cucky, sing us a ballad.
All right, John, you can be Cucky. There you go.
Hold on, let me gather my balls.
Panel
Yes,
2.
That line always works. What can I say?
It's a good line. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Any jokes about balls work. Panel 2, background. Cucky juggles his balls, standing behind Thora and Erica. Erica smiles slightly at Thora's discomfort.
Frenemies and rivals, disloyalty and death, fright and flee, and screw and kill until your final breath.
Hey,
Yeah. Panel
one better, okay.
3. A party of 4, all on horseback, including Thora, Nestor, and Gretchen, and Bobby. Nestor's squire, last seen in issue 1, page 4, each wears a white cloak over leather armor. They ride along a road out of green fields of alluvia. In the far distance, the road continues through a sandy, desolate terrain.
Edmund chooses to carnal knowledge, Thora to explore a different path. Both should hope their thrusts are true, else they face the queen's wrath.
oh wow.
It's playing well to
This is
Larry,
great.
all right?
Yeah.
Look, Larry's loving it. There you go.
Yeah.
No, this is great.
That song too. Like, yeah, you're leveling
You
up.
rewrote this from last week, didn't you? Because this a lot of this
Well,
seems new.
a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you tweet. Yeah, some of it. Yeah, it's good.
There you go.
This is actually good.
All right, we've gotten to actually good. Okay, there we go.
That's
We're
high
not even at
praise
the end
coming from
yet.
Danny.
High praise from
Actually
Danny.
good.
Unlike everything else you write, this is actually
Yeah. All right, let's continue on with this song. Panel 4,
All right.
sun high overhead. The 4 ride into the desert.
One shall face the heart of the desert, the other the heart of a lover. Who shall live and who shall die? Only time allow us to discover.
All right. We're at page 9, panel 1. Background. Ahead lie the gates of the lost Abrakan city of, Chieko.
Sounds good.
All
Look,
right.
The great
sure.
thing about it being a dead language, there's no way to mispronounce it.
It's true. Yes, there's a penciler note. Foreground. The 4 ride through the sand into the early light of evening.
We have arrived.
It's beautiful.
No signs of inhabitation. A massive city lost to time.
Panel 2. A multitude of skeletons, some armored, some not, bear the arrows, spears, and swords that slew them. They stand as a testament to the battle that gave way to the massacre so many centuries ago at these very gates as the 4 approach.
I can hear the voices of the lost. They speak to me.
What happened here?
A slaughter.
The entire city?
Panel 3. Thora leads the 4 through the gate and into the courtyard area, filled with skeletons, surrounded on all sides by high walls. Doorways and gates lead to the city ruins.
The ones not slaughtered lived the rest of their lives as slaves in foreign lands.
Panel 4, foreground. Thora removes her horse's saddle. Background. Gretchen dismounts her horse. Nestor and Bobby remain in their saddles, unsure of what to do.
Nestor, you and your squire stay here and guard the horses. I recommend you set up camp. Gretchen and I may be a while.
But won't you need us? What if there are any undead in there?
Don't let your mind drift towards peril. I don't want you to get spooked and flee. I'll need my horse when I'm done.
All right. Page 10, panel 1. Foreground. In her governor's armor, Thora walks with Gretchen, who also left her robe behind. They walk towards an open gate leading into the city as 2 women sharing a common purpose. Background. Nestor and Bobby stand with the resting horses. Everywhere, the faces of the dead seem to watch the scene unfolding before them.
Sisterhood eternal.
United by our sex.
Panel 2. Thor and Gretchen walk through the ruins towards the towering temple a few hundred yards ahead.
This city's larger than Port Victoria.
Can you hear the whispers of the dead? They speak of their lost ambitions. There has been no one to hear them, and they have much to say.
Panel 3. Thor leads Gretchen up the steps of the temple. Ruined statues present the serpent-headed figure of Aristogal every few yards of the ascent.
I can't say that I hear them, but I definitely feel the weight of this place.
Yes, once this temple served to channel the people's ambition, now a testament to oblivion.
Panel 4. Thora and Gretchen stand at the top of the stairs, peering into the main chamber. Gretchen does her best to remain calm, but seems a bit unnerved as Thora speaks from conviction.
Ereshkigal, goddess of the underworld, mistress of oblivion, I have come here to reclaim your knowledge and to share with all those who will listen the ultimate fate of human ambition.
All right, it's 10 pages.
Yay!
All right, Larry, you seem to like it. What'd you think?
It was definitely a little bit more easier to understand than the last one you presented, I think.
I put in more exposition for you.
Yeah. Yeah, like that was good. The pacing was a little bit better. If I was just picking it up, I would understand it better too because of that exposition, which is always a good thing. So it's good to remind people of different things. So all in all, I enjoyed it. I like the little gags in there and there. They're always good to have around. So yeah, much better.
All right, John.
It was a damn good rewrite.
Okay.
I think the stuff you did with the possession, and Arica and how they were like negotiating was really, really strong and did a really good job, especially compared with last week. So I think that improvement was very good and made the opening pages pretty strong. And it also had, especially when they were like talking about going on the quest, and which I know is basically what you're doing, but this does have that D&D feel to it. So it definitely, like I can definitely see like you're doing this is like the comic version of whatever D&D module you're going to end up writing for this particular issue. And it does actually feel like that, D&D wall of text that you get before your NPC, your PCs go out to, murder hobo a bunch of people.
Ibrahim, what do you think?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I liked the character interactions and the history and kind of like the sense of mystery surrounding the ruins. I guess like, is it supposed to be inspired by like Babylon or something? Like the
Assyria.
Assyria? Okay, makes sense. It was pretty interesting, kind of like, mythology behind it.
All right, Danny.
So that was fucking awesome.
Oh, thanks.
I really, really liked it. Even the song, which I hated, I really liked.
Okay.
It needed to be there. It did its job. This was a really good continuation from issue 2. It's super D&D. I love that there's a new sort of expansion to the world that comes from this story and this intro. So that's really good. The new quest is cool. It's super weird and also impressive that you turn this into a diaspora story. So I am just taking that as some sort of flight of serendipitous inspiration that you got, but it totally landed. It was a really good way for you to deal with Edmund as well, because we broke him a little bit, and he did deserve a good smack in the face.
Right.
And then, that you took the note on sort of using the song as a way to explain what's going on while doing traveling, like saved you 2 pages easy, and you really used those pages as much as you could. So I would recommend sort of locking this in and just getting on with it.
Okay, sounds good. All right, constructive notes. Cool. Well, there we go.
I mean, there are some words missing in some of the
this is fix a few spelling errors.
There's a little bit of repetition with some of the Samantha stuff and the Arica stuff. So you could make that flow a little bit better in the edit. Nestor's voice came out really well. Arica being sort of was sort of a little bit all over the place. So like that needs a mild rewrite. So you've got a better sense of how she's changing her mind and why when she is. Yeah.
All right.
Other people need to say constructive things as well.
All right. Hey.
Yeah, I would probably say maybe going more into like the history, like maybe if your readers have kind of like, oh, what are these ruins for? What are their significance? Like, I don't know, maybe you had that planned after, they go through this adventure first. So, I mean, I think that would be kind of a cool thing to include.
I mean, what do you want to know about it?
Just like, what's that snake statue doing? The Ershkigal or whatever. Is that some type of goddess or like?
Yes.
Okay. Like just, kind of like what was the circumstances leading up to like, the thing getting destroyed and all that kind of stuff. I think that would be kind of an interesting question to explore.
Okay. All right. I'll get to work on that. Well, that was all the scripts we had for this evening. Next week, I will be undertaking an exceedingly long trip. I am going to go to Salt Lake City for FanX Salt Lake, a 3-day show, which usually one would expect a 3-day show to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but this being Utah, this is going to be an exciting Thursday, Friday, Saturday show. So I
guess the Mormons can't go to a fan expo on Sunday.
Exactly. No. That would be bad. So I'm looking for a very exciting Thursday, and with all the travel and stuff, I won't be here on Tuesday. So we're going to have to miss next week. But week after that, I should have some more pages of Palace, if nothing else.
I'll probably have the next set. I got to get 4 done because 3 is
awesome.
Getting productive. Marcel is working on 3 right now, so
I will have something if I'm not dragged onto a film set at the last minute again.
All right, sounds good.
All right. Ibrahim, write a script.
Yeah, I'll definitely slim it down into more of like a panel-based thing. I kind of see what you're
doing. And look, pay attention to carriage returns. They're really helpful.
Yes.
There you go.
No wall of text.
No wall of text.
All right.
All right. Cool. All right. See everybody in a couple weeks.
All right. See you. Good night, everybody.
Night, everybody.